Hello and welcome to another Cereal Box Reviews. I'm Ash, back again with Zach, and today we are talking about uh, Dawn of the Dead, the 1978 version, not the version by the director of the zombie classic Army of the Dead, which
Of
is a
course.
which is a classic film that everybody remembers.
I have a poster on my wall right
Of what?
now. Army of the Dead, duh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
From what is that, like 2 years ago or something, and like nobody remembers it.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now, to
Zack
be honest.
Snyder made a zombie movie. Zack Snyder did the Dawn of the Dead remake, but he also did Army of the Dead a couple years ago.
That's right.
That nobody remembers.
And Savini did the first remake of Night. Okay.
Yes.
I have it for now.
But Army of the Dead has nothing to do with these movies. It's just Zack Snyder's like, well, I already made a remake. I'll make my own zombie movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, yeah. But I didn't watch that. I heard it was shitty and nobody remembers it. But anyways, yeah, we're talking about the 1978 Dawn of the Dead. Now, I've only seen. I've actually never watched the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead all the way through. I've only seen it like here and there over the years on TV because I don't know if they still do, but they used to play that movie a shit ton on TV for whatever reason. So I've only seen like bits and pieces over the years. I mean, I didn't think it was like that bad or anything, but it was like I just remember thinking it was like okay or whatever. But anyways, Dawn of the Dead, George Romero, the second in the Dead series. Now, the Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead are like a series of movies, and then he did Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead, which is like a separate series, which I like to act like those last two movies do not exist because they're just gay and boring, and it's kind of like he was an old man, and he was kind of like he didn't really. I think he was like trying. He was like, I want to make something for the kids, and it just didn't came out quite right.
Attention.
Yeah.
He seems like a sweet man. I watched like an interview with him just out of curiosity, and he seems like a nice man, or was.
Yes. Yeah, he's yeah, he's yeah, he seemed like a sweet guy. He had a sick turkey neck, and big ass glasses, and he was also Spaniard, which makes him based.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought it.
His dad is Spaniard, born there. But yeah. So yeah, George Romero. I grew up watching his movies quite a bit. He did. Yeah, he did direct Creepshow 1. I always thought he directed segments, but I think he did the whole movie. But anyways, I grew up watching his movies quite a bit. And so yeah, I think I've seen his movies more than I have. I think John Carpenter probably more amount of times even, but yeah. So George Romero, yeah, I grew up watching his movies a lot. Specifically, I haven't seen every George Romero movie, but I grew up watching the not so much in Land of the Dead that much, but I've only seen it like a couple times in my life. But I've watched Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead quite. I've seen those movies like quite a few times. For some weird reason, I've watched Dawn of the Dead the least amount of times, which is weird. I don't know why, but Night of the Living Dead I've actually watched the most, and the only reason I think is because I owned it. I owned it on like I have it on some one of those DVD public domain box sets I got when I was a kid, and
Nice.
so every DVD I had as a kid, I would just like watch over and over again. It didn't really matter.
Of course.
Yeah, and so I've seen Night of the Living Dead quite a bit, and I've seen Day of the Dead more than Dawn of the Dead, which is weird because I've always liked Dawn of the Dead and Night of the Living Dead better. But the only reason why I've seen Day of the Dead a lot is because for some reason, when I was a kid and stuff, like my dad would just watch that movie a lot. Like I swear he would watch that movie like every like 5 months or something. He would put on Day of the Dead, and so I've seen that movie quite a bit. I've seen this movie too, quite a bit, a handful of times, and so I haven't seen it since probably like in 5 years, I think. And yeah, and I've seen Night of the Dead and Day of the Dead more recently, but so yeah, I've been wanting to revisit it. I put it up on it won some poll I did, and the poll this time I intentionally picked movies that would be 100% for sure, and I kind of picked like intentionally like classic horror movies that would be for sure good to do a pod on, not just kind of random movies like ones that are like I perfectly handpicked on my watch list or whatever. I was like, yes, we should talk about this one, and this one. And so, and then Dawn of the Dead is the one that won the poll. So yeah, Dawn of the Dead, 1978. Now there is 3 different versions of this movie. I watched the regular one. So there's the 3 are there's the regular one, and then there's the cons version that's like 10 minutes longer, and then there's the Argento cut, which I believe is 10 minutes shorter. And so I think I've seen all 3 versions. I definitely have seen the Argento one a while ago, but so when I rewatched this, I rewatched the theatrical one, and
That's 2 hours and 19 minutes, right?
The regular one's 2 hours and like 7 minutes, I think.
Oh, I watched 2 hours 19.
Oh, so you watched the con cut, which is not much of a difference. It's just a few scenes added. I'm trying to remember which scenes they were, but yeah, it's just like extra footage. It's the same movie, but the Argento version, which is the shortest, is actually surprisingly like different, like almost a different movie. And I actually don't like that. There's a lot of people that like that version. Now it's very divided. There's a lot of people that either really like it, think it's the best version, and there's some that think it's the worst. And I do think it's the worst because it cuts out a lot of it intentionally like try to make it more of a I don't know, like it says it's an Argento cut. I guess he had like hands in editing it. I'm not quite sure, but it's just it cuts out. It's more like it cuts out a lot of the comedic stuff and kind of the a lot of that stuff. Right. And I think the music cues are different in some of the scenes and stuff. And yeah, and because also that version too is called Zombie because in Italy they tried connecting it with Lucio Fulci's Zombie, which they call Zombie 2 over there. So, and the Argento version of Dawn of the Dead, that's why it's edited like that, because it almost tonally kind of fits more with Lucio Fulci's Zombie, kind of. And so it's a bit confusing. It's kind of... The Dead series is so confusing because there's different canons you can look at. There's the George Romero canon, and then, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. And then there's if you had Return of the Living Dead, which is not an official... Return of the Living Dead's kind of like Young Frankenstein, sort of, where it's not canon, but you can almost put it as the canon, and it like fits, which is a direct sequel to Night of the Living Dead. And then there's the Italian, zombie films, which are go from Dawn of the Dead to Lucio Fulci's the zombie movies or whatever. And But the funny thing is, Lucio Fulci's zombie. I mean, it can kind of technically like work with Dawn of the Dead, I guess, but it doesn't. It's pretty much a standalone movie. It has nothing to do with Dawn of the Dead, really. But yeah. Anyways, so Dawn of the Dead is, I mean, the basic premise is the and it's like Night of the Living Dead is never referenced in it, but it's pretty much like a direct sequel to it. Dawn of the Dead starts off with and by the way, Dawn of the Dead, I have to mention, is, you know, it's not the first zombie movie. I mean, there's Night of the Living Dead, but Night of the Living Dead is kind of the first movie with zombies where it's like the modern idea what zombies are like. But Dawn of the Dead is truly the in my opinion, it's truly the one that's probably the closest to your like modern zombies, like the truly probably the closest. Night of the Living Dead was still kind of it was more like a primitive version, but even though they were like the first type of zombie, but this one is more like what either modern zombie movies, TV shows, video games, whatever are like. It's like the closest, you know. It was kind of the first of the actual fully realize what a zombie is kind of thing. And so yeah, so it starts off with because since I guess the events of 9/11 already happened, so Dawn of the Dead starts where like, yeah, the zombie apocalypse is going on, and then there's these like the news and stuff, and everybody's freaking out, and they're the SWAT teams are going in places, you know, or people are just, you know, trying to get rid of all the zombies and stuff. And you follow these group of people. The couple of guys are SWAT, I guess, and then the one chick is a reporter, and the guy and her husband, her boyfriend, sorry, and they escape. They escape and they find a mall in Pittsburgh, and they stay in the mall and for a while, and then of course there's zombies in there, and then it's just about them kind of surviving and hanging out in the mall, and things happen. And so yeah, that's the basic premise of the movie. But yeah, so have you seen this movie before?
No, never.
Oh, okay, this is interesting because I've seen this movie a lot when I was a kid. I watched it quite a bit. Yeah. Okay, so what did you think of it?
I really dug it. I think it's something I'm gonna come back to at some point. I also want to like review whatever Romero's whole filmography, because I think I've somewhere sort of overlooked him a bit, aside from thinking Creepshow is fun and really loving Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Which has been a pretty, I don't know, a personal fave of mine since I was like 8 and I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always had the like Romero zombie, you know, idea in my head or whatever. And I know he's like the zombie guy, but I never actually looked at any of his other like zombie pictures.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to see him like doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's interesting about well, especially the first three is one's in the 60s, one's in the 70s, one's in the 80s, and they kind of work off of each other, and they are very each movie's like a very of its time, even in the horror genre, and yeah, I don't know, it is kind of interesting. And I mean, you could technically, I guess, watch the movie standalone, they work, but yeah, it is kind of interesting, and yeah, but yeah, I like this movie. I've always liked it. Yeah, what was I gonna say? But yeah, it's one of those two. It's kind of funny for me to talk about because it's kind of like, I don't know. It's just one of those like classic horror movies, like it's like kind of like talking like the Exorcist or yeah, like the Exorcist, the Thing or something like that, or it's just like yeah, I'm gonna yeah, it's like there's I'm gonna think there. I mean, there's some classic movies I don't care for, but like there's still certain movies where it's like yeah, it's good, or like Jaws or something. It's like yeah, yeah, I like it. And yeah, Dawn of the Dead. I do think. See, I always kind of went back and forth with Night of the Living Dead. I actually like this. I think I like this one better, probably. Night of the Living Dead. I know that consensus is Dawn of the Dead, but for the longest time I was kind of debating in my head which one I thought was better because sometimes I like Night of the Living Dead better. They're similar, but they're actually like pretty different movies, and I just yeah, I think I like Dawn of the Dead better, but yeah, but also what makes I think Romero's movies great is they are focused on like I think this is something that a lot of especially zombie movies and stuff in the future they kind of forget about, or sort of like, or a lot of just horror movies in general. But there's the like the characters in, let's say, Night of the Dead, Dawn of the Day of the Dead. I wouldn't necessarily say they're like these deep, complex characters, but they're kind of like he always has like strong characters in his movies. And his movies are really almost more like character films. Really, I mean, there's the zombies and stuff going on, but they're really like character, like almost driven kind of movies and stuff. And then it's like this one, like the Dawn of the Dead, how it begins and stuff. You're just kind of watching these people do whatever, and you don't really have an attachment. But as the movie goes on, I start like, like oh wow, like I don't know, like especially because Dawn of the Dead, which is cool, is there's a lot of like them messing around in the wall and stuff, and it's almost like you either like relate to them or like wow, like that guy seems like a cool guy. I would hang out with him or something like that.
Right.
And a lot of movies like that have missed that element, which I think's really really good to have in your movie for characters. You should have that, and it makes them more human and makes them like you care about them more.
Right.
And it is interesting because they're not like they just seem like almost regular people put in this situation. They're not like there's a lot of movies where they're like all the characters for some reason are all of a sudden like badasses and they talk like yeah we're cool and stuff, and they're just like regular people that just so have to be in this situation, and so
Right.
yeah, that's what I like about it. Uh so yeah, da, da, da. uh so you've seen Night of the Living Dead, but you never seen Day of the Dead, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Day of the Dead, I think I'd like because it seems more like depressing and like underground, like literally underground.
Yeah.
It's all in like a bunker, and like just that idea sounds very like I don't know, upsetting, I guess, and dreary, and I think it would be cool.
Yeah, it's a good movie. But do you have? I'm going to get into my notes, but do you have anything to say about Dawn of the Dead?
One of the things that I found really appealing about it is that you felt like you sort of felt behind the scenes how everybody was feeling. Like, I don't know, you could just like imagine it being like fucking 4 in the morning and everybody's just trying to like get a perfect shot of a zombie's head, getting macheted and like but like everybody's on board and like really into it, and it felt good. I feel like sometimes these like zombie movies or like big, broad horror films get kind of like muddy because it feels too much like they're trying to like pull one over on the audience.
Yeah.
And like cover up everything, but like this, it felt good, and so it felt special.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me of when I worked at like, not even worked. I was like, not even interning yet. Like it was just like one night, like night before Halloween, I went because my stepmother wanted me to go, and I like helped at like a haunted house, not like at the haunted house, but like I was like painting kids' faces, and like we would all go into the break room and like eat pizza with like someone dressed as the Wolf Man or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember that very well and quite fondly, and I kind of got those little nostalgic memories from watching Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's what it's too, like it's, and I think it works too because there wasn't really the zombie genre wasn't really like fully established yet, and so I think that's part of it. But yeah, it just has like there is no. I feel like there is no no like it's very like authentic. I feel like there's no like try hard moment or like like isn't this fucking cool? Like that's what I was critiquing about a lot of those like modern zombies, how all the characters talk badass, like nobody's natural or anything like that. And I was kind of thinking, when I was thinking that, I was actually thinking of Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. I've never watched the whole movie, I've seen close of it, and it's like that. And yeah, it's just I just like it because it's just very, there's a playful energy to it. It's just not try hard, and I think what makes it work is because the zombie genre wasn't really that established. Yeah, and also you have the guy that pretty much established it. I mean, there were like zombie movies, but they weren't like the modern zombies at all. And yet the guy that kind of established it, make this movie, and so you aren't gonna see a lot of that. But so the notes. So I really like the opening of this movie, and also what makes me laugh is if you pay attention to some of the extras in the background, they're like the way they're acting, because there's like people that are upset and stuff. The way that they're acting is like some of the extras in the background are really funny because they're like clearly like either overacting or like some of them are like smiling almost like they're just kind of like. And George Romero's also in the background.
I missed him.
Oh, he's pretty unrecognizable in this from this time. I think he had like a beard, like short hair, I think, and stuff. But and I don't think he wore glasses too. But and I've heard a lot of people say this, and it is kind of interesting. It is very the way the news breaks out and stuff, all the stuff going on. It is kind of similar to the like I feel so gay bringing this up because I don't want to be this guy, but it is very similar. Like when COVID, the lockdowns broke out, like like how like people like were kind of like divided and kind of like what and I had to bring that up. I feel gay bringing it up because it's like too. And there's like because I've seen videos out there of people talk about this movie and they're like, yeah, man, it's and they like switch their tone of voice switches. They're like, yeah, it's just like 2020, man. Yeah, like, and so I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to try to sound like that.
I thought of COVID and shit, like fucking whatever, locked in, fucking whatever. Yeah. It's a valid thing to bring up, but yeah, people do get pretty gay when they like draw parallels and shit.
Also, this movie interestingly has parallels to well, because it's a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, I guess. So there's a lot of there's kind of it's kind of interesting because the in this the blonde chick I wrote her name down Fran she looks not looks like but she's a blonde and is like almost dressed the same as Barbara from Night of the Living Dead. Is almost dressed like looks the same exact way.
The actress Barbara who played Barbara, whatever. I don't know why I just explained what an actor is, but she like early on the set or whatever was fucking saying that they should end the movie with a big pie fight where they pie all the zombies, and like apparently maybe this like is.
Oh yeah no that I believe I could be wrong, but there is footage. They filmed it, but I think it's like lost.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I'm thinking of you know what I'm thinking of is but there is footage of it, like behind the scenes footage. I've seen it before.
Like yeah.
But I'm also thinking about Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah, right.
But there is also a Dawn of the Dead pie thing too, because I've seen the footage behind the scenes footage where they have pie on their face and stuff. Now Doctor Strangelove, I don't think it was filmed, but it's like lost or something. But I don't think there's like behind the scenes footage, but there's like pictures of it. Might be the same thing, but yeah, I think they. Yeah, I think the Dawn of the I don't know. I have to look because I forgot about that. I remember hearing about that. But
it's just a funny story that he brought it back. You know.
Yeah. Also, also another thing that's similar to Night of the Living Dead is how there's that scene where they're out in like the country, the rednecks and stuff are shooting them, and it's like you could almost say because it is in Pittsburgh as well. You can almost say it's the same exact location that Night of the Living Dead took place, and how when they killed what's his I forgot the character's name, the black guy in Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, Ben. Don't forget Ben.
Which is it's like I always Night of the Living Dead I think the ending of that movie is like pretty like amazing. Just because like I don't know, it's just like it's a dark ending, but it's like how it's a very like dark ending, but it is interesting because you know they could say that they shot him because they thought he was a zombie, but did they shoot him because he was just a black guy?
He's got to be a zombie or something. He's doing something bad. Oh yeah, that was a pretty fucking hardcore ending. Like that was just a hardcore movie though.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is about that movie too was he didn't have like he didn't think of it as being like a black guy really. He didn't think of anything. Yeah, and but it does work extremely well in the story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But and then there's also a black guy in this that's actually kind of a similar like character to him.
Yeah,
almost a similar type. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, one's the most like together person in the group.
Yeah. So, and Peter, that was the character's name. So it's interesting. Also, I'd like to bring up because I talked about zombie, Lucio Fulci zombie. There is in this movie they do reference here and there about going to the island, to an island or whatever, and Lucio Fulci zombie mostly takes place on an island, and also Lucio Fulci zombie begins in the where the zombie outbreaks in the East Coast, and so there's almost that's why it almost could work as it's in the same universe or same time frame, because you also could say that the island is maybe like the people going to the island is how they spread the virus and stuff. That's why they show up there and there's all that shit going on and stuff. and so it almost works. And but also could talk about the um the soundtrack by Goblin and Dario Argento.
And just like temp tracks, or what are they called? Fucking library tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the. How does it go?
It's the robot chicken. Yeah.
You're right.
I've always heard that. I've heard that song. Like I've heard that that song in different things before, and I remember in Robot Chicken, but I never like thought of it exclusively as the Robot Chicken song. Cause for some reason, like people like whenever they talk about like this movie or that song, they always say, "Oh, it's the Robot Chicken song," which it is. But it's like a public domain kind of like track or whatever. I've heard it in like many different things. Yeah, I don't really like Raw Chicken. I guess it's funny thing is that when I think of it, it's probably this movie. Actually, I don't think about Robot Chicken. I don't really think about Robot Chicken in my day-to-day life.
They must have saved a fortune on that show by just having like fucking library tracks as their song. I never thought of that. They must have saved a lot on the movie too, but whatever.
Yeah.
Did you? I watched a funny thing or whatever, just because you brought up the music. Dario. I always want to say Dario Argento, but Dario. Like fucking twisted Romero's arm on using the fucking Goblin music, and was like, "My band Goblin, we will." He's Russian now. "My band Goblin, we will," and now he's Indian. I can't do an Italian.
The affected the people.
My movie, my band the Goblin. We're going to use it in your music. You like? And Romero. Like, okay, because like he was fucking, I guess, giving him money or fucking giving him his name.
Yeah.
So worked. That was a dope partnership, though.
Yeah.
They worked together later on something. I don't know much about it. The Poe movie.
Yeah. Also, kind of like I forgot another peril Night of the Living Dead I forget about is the race stuff, because in the beginning of this movie there's there's the shooting in the projects or whatever, and the one dude is like in the middle of all this stuff going on, he's just like blatantly racist. Dropping N-bombs. Remember the guy was just dropping N-bombs?
I don't remember the guy dropping N-bombs. I feel like I would.
He was there for like 10 seconds, though. Like 10 seconds.
Wait, was he a redneck? Say again?
No, he was part of the SWAT or whatever.
Oh, well, okay.
And they're going in the projects, and they're like shooting the gangbanger guys, and they go in, and then there's the like zombie black guys in there, and they like start killing them, but the one guy gets off on it because he's like has an excuse of killing black people.
Shit, that is so fucking hilarious.
And in the movie, he's like dropping N bombs left and right, and he gets killed by one of the zombies, and and it's obviously that's because not only did the racial commentary is like unintentional, but the dominant, like this is almost like intentional, like where they're going in the projects and just like aimlessly, like the SWAT like aimlessly shooting at people and stuff.
Whose head blows up apparently was supposed to be Puerto Rican.
Okay.
I just thought very decayed.
Well, yeah, there's like blacks and like Puerto Ricans and stuff in the building, but yeah, it's
black man can be a zombie finally in this fucking world.
Yeah. And yeah, but that was like more obviously intentional, because the SWAT do be doing that. They just like whenever anybody gets swatted on like a live stream, they just immediately barge in and will just like the dog will just be like, looking, and then it'll just kill the dog.
They'll kill the fuck out of that dog.
Yeah.
God bless them.
And they're like, oh, sorry. That's how it always goes.
Yeah. They'd fucking kill a hamster too if they could.
Yeah.
They'd pop one of those fucking smoke things in a fish tank.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's us getting political.
Yeah.
Just as subtle as George.
Yep. And then
they killed 2 kids pretty early on.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty gutsy, I guess.
Yeah.
I remember feeling, oh my. No, but a kid does kill somebody else in the night, though.
Yeah. The little girl.
Right.
And they keep in the basement or whatever.
That's super hard book. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but the what did you think of? And in my opinion, this movie is not his strongest, like, for showing it off. But what did you think of the Tom Savini effects?
I mean, there's some pretty dope shit here. I guess you kind of have to get past the fact that they're all just blue or whatever.
Yeah, and I do like the blood, how it's like extremely bright red.
Oh yes, of course,
yeah.
Of course.
I actually do like. I'm actually a fan of unrealistic, like, bright red blood.
Who isn't? It's fun. It's beautiful.
Yeah. No, this movie I would not say is his strongest, like, showing off. He's done, a lot more, especially Day of the Dead. His effects in that are more show-offy and stuff, but
there's some shit here. They use like real pig organs or whatever, very clean pig organs. I'm surprised they didn't drizzle a little more schmutz on it or something. But like, yeah, and there's some memorable shit here.
Yeah.
Shit. The machete, as I mentioned before, and yeah, even doing that fucking jump scene or whatever, he like totally almost like destroyed his ankles.
Yeah, with the we haven't even really gotten to the characters yet, but we could also talk about the bikers. Towards the end, Tom Savini's like one of the bikers, the biker leader, and
yeah, he's fucking, what's his name, Blades or something, and the other one is Hammer or Sledge. Sledge.
They're like nowhere. They're like the characters in like Nowhere. The names.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah.
Don't do that ever again. Don't describe any movie as being like Nowhere. What a shitty gay fucking movie. Wow, I'm seriously just soured more and more and more on that fucking movie. I don't think that I've ever like took that long to fucking change my mind about a movie. You know that?
Yeah.
Like, right, done with it, I kind of know how I feel, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom Savini's
a pimp.
Yeah. He's like, I don't even know how tall he is. He looks really little.
He does look kind of little.
Like a little man.
Probably like 5'8".
Like a little grease ball.
Truly. Great mustache. He's good looking. I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever. He's a Chad, so.
Oh, of course. Dude, Tom Savini gets so much pussy.
He probably does. I'm being serious. He probably does. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Yeah. He was in like he was like a photographer in Vietnam.
No shit.
Yeah.
Nobody looked like a dweeb holding a camera in Vietnam, you know?
Yeah. My not biological grandfather, but my step grandfather did that, and he got kicked out because he was selling drugs or like selling weed. and they kicked him out, or he got what do you call it, deported or whatever. Yeah, but anyways, I didn't really talk about like I guess the characters that much. So the Fly Boys, the pilot guy who's dating the blonde chick. Yeah, he's kind of like a square kind of. He's not like they kind of set up like he's not that skilled with like shooting guns or
combat.
Yeah.
It'll be more likely to fall over in any given situation.
Yeah. And
the black guy, as we mentioned before, I guess we skipped the woman, but like I don't think George Romero like gave a shit about women until like 1985.
Yeah.
Even in the commentary, or not the commentary, the behind the scenes retrospective bullshit I watched afterwards, the actress who played Fran was all like, he wanted me to scream every time like a zombie came and then like fucking start crying, but she was like, I wouldn't do it or whatever. And she says because like she felt it would be like misogynistic, but I'm pretty sure it's just because she like couldn't pull it off. That's why she just sort of stands around when like.
Well, that us Hispanics have low opinions on blonde women, and so yeah, that's probably just his
fucking Spanish heritage.
Yeah, we no, that's like a kind of a thing. Like a lot of Hispanic people just naturally like are kind of like view blondes as like mostly blonde women as kind of like dumb or like no, that's like an actual like a thing.
Because there's so few of them around, they're unattainable for you guys.
Yeah, I really like blonde women though.
Yeah.
But like my type is like Sydney Sweeney is like my perfect. That's like perfect to me, perfection.
Right.
But like I it's kind of weird because I mean there's like women or celebrity type women I like and stuff, but she's like, oh, that's the one. I always say that to myself when I see anything with her. I'm like, that's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah, but like my dad does, like he thinks blonde women are like stupid. He's not attracted to them, and so he was like told me that.
Hell yeah, your dad rocks.
Yeah, but yeah, she's not like that strong of a character. She just like I mean she does like join them here and there in the movie when they go around the mall, but she mostly just sits around. They're like, wait here, and they just do whatever. Just boys being boys.
She takes a whole little stand or whatever, but then they find out she's pregnant, and they're like, nah, bitch, you stay up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we talked about the black man.
Peter.
We have.
Talk about Trooper.
Is that
Trooper? Yes. I don't remember the character's real name, but I think they always call him Trooper throughout the movie.
Yeah, I remember when he like is fucked up and in bed.
Yeah.
He's set up pretty early on as like the tough, like good-hearted but very wiry, somewhat unstable guy.
Yeah.
He's the one that ends up cracking up and therefore fucking ends up getting bit and is like the first one of the main group to die. The only one, or no.
The Flyboy dies.
Flyboy. Yeah.
You're sounding like Heath Ledger and Brokeback Mountain a bit there.
Flyboy.
Jack. You should talk about that movie one of these days.
I gotta watch it first, but yeah, we should.
We wish I knew how to quit you.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Yeah, but anywho,
and we get canceled for.
Yes, we are Blue's Orange Color videos our most viewed video has a ridiculous amount of views. Is it like 16,000 or something views?
How many likes? I'm gonna be.
It was like 20. Last time I checked, it was like 25. And the dislikes, because you can't see it, but I can see it on my thing. There was like 5 dislikes or something like that. I think. Like it wasn't actually that much. There's dislikes, but wasn't that much, which is interesting. A lot of people like are Blue's the warmest color. I have no idea why. It's weird. Okay, whatever. I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, whatever.
It is interesting. It is just interesting to me that one in particular has a lot of views. I didn't expect that.
That is a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, but which means we should probably talk about Brokeback Mountain then.
It means we should start talking about lesbian pornography.
Straight up, yeah.
I think you're getting the wrong
impression here. The one zombie. Oh, I should also mention that Fran in this movie, she like smokes and cigarettes and drinks wine while she's pregnant.
Oh yeah, she's fucking for real. Zombies are gonna be the least of that baby's problems.
Did you notice the one zombie remember the one zombie that looks like Moby?
The Hare Krishna one? Yes, I did.
Yes.
Blue Moby. He deserved worse. No.
Yeah.
My lawyer has encouraged me to stop speaking about the artist named Moby.
Great grandson or whatever, the guy that wrote Moby Dick.
That's what?
Yes, I talked about this on another pod. Moby's like great grandfather wrote Moby Dick. That's why his name's Moby.
Grandfather is Henry Melville.
Is that the guy's name?
Henry Melville sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I also brought up on that same podcast that Edgar Rice Burroughs that wrote Tarzan is the great grandfather of Wes Anderson.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Which is interesting.
I wish I was a descendant of a famous author.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the guy that wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Yeah, hell yeah. Like the guy who wrote The Elders of Zion.
Or the guy that wrote Mein Kampf.
That's to say, yes. Wonder whatever happened to that guy. He just kind of dropped off the map. Lost his inspiration, I guess.
Yeah. Also, on the end of this movie, because Flyboy and Trooper are dead, and it's just Peter and Fran, Peter tells Fran, like, go, leave, and then she goes in the helicopter and she's like taking off, and then Peter changes his mind. He actually, which I think is interesting, I think it's intentional, he kills the zombie he kills when he changes his mind is a black guy, like a black zombie, and when he saw it, that's the one he saw that kind of changed his mind, which I think is intentional. I think because he saw the black guy and is like, oh, that's gonna be me. He's like, I'm not gonna be like that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then that's what. Yeah, that's like what sets him off almost. He saw that. It's not like it doesn't like zoom in on the zombie. It doesn't do anything like that. But I think it's pretty like it's subtle, but I think it's like intentional.
He doesn't have a fucking giant clock over his chest.
Yeah, yeah. And then he hops on the helicopter and they take off, and that's the end. But this is something I noticed that I never really heard anybody.
I also know the fucking conversation, Fran is getting to know him or whatever, and like asks like, so do you have any family out here or whatever, or do you know anybody out here that you want to try and connect with at some point down the line? And he's like, yeah, a couple of brothers. And she's like, what, like family brothers or street brothers?
I remember that, yeah.
And he's just like, both. This is very funny. I don't know. It's not like, if it felt like fucking demeaning or whatever, then it would just be awful and like unbelievably cringy. But it's more like lighthearted.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it wasn't a hindrance. I forgot about it pretty much just quickly.
Right. I'm trying to think of what else to talk about in this movie.
Well, there's the whole satire angle. It's, I guess, still works today, just like you have to translate it to modern times. Nobody goes outside anymore, and hasn't for some time.
Right.
But the whole idea of like consumerism and shit, which is still relevant today, obviously.
Oh yeah, I forgot to bring that up too. There's a lot of people bring up the consumerism thing. I feel like that is like not that funny anymore, but probably was in 1978.
I probably would have been like, that's so true.
Yeah, but now it is very on the nose, and it's kind of like, oh okay. Now
I mean, I don't think it hurts it.
It doesn't hurt it, but I've heard a lot of people say that's like the genius of this movie is that whole angle, but I don't know. I think it's it's smart, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't think it's that funny.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's funny, I guess, to like see someone like a zombie get pied in the face, but I don't know. It would have been. They weren't blue though. That's like, it wasn't like a laugh riot to me, but it was fun. Like I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yes.
Where it was unintentional, I think.
Right.
Which is fine. It's solid. No.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to say about The Dawn of the Dead? 1978, not 2004.
Krishna. No, I think we kind of touched on everything.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we were 53 minutes. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so R.I.P. to the homie.
Yes. George A. Romero, R.I.P.
Yeah. George of the Dead.
Yes. of the Dead Man. Anyways. I'm gonna end this, so yeah.
Thank you for listening.
Yes. Bye-bye.